Hello, thank you once again for joining me to talk all things vertical drama. And I am joined by the stars of one of the big new releases on Dramabox, which is Bucked by My Father's Cowboy. We have both our leading female and our leading male. Sarah Grace, I'm going to let you go first. If you could introduce yourself and tell everyone the character you play, and then Riley, your turn.
Of course. Hey y'all, I'm Sarah Grace Donnelly and I play Jessa.
And I'm Ryley Schroeder and I play Hart Bronson.
Okay, excellent. First question is then, how did you both get attached to the project, and had you worked together before? What was your route into the Cowboy project?
Well, it's funny because I actually had a meeting with some of the people at Dramabox in December about something totally separate, just kind of like, checking in meeting. And at that meeting in December, Christiane Cruz, who was one of the people who was very heavily involved in making this project, mentioned to me that they were going to be doing like a cowboy Western one, in the next year. And I'm from New Orleans. I'm a Southern girl at heart. And she knows that. I love riding horses and all that stuff. And so she was like, oh, girl, like, put this on your radar. Like, this could be something really good. And then, sure enough, the time came around and they're like, all right, what are you thinking about this? And I, sent in some tapes and we did some chem reads and stuff. And that's kind of how it happened. But yeah, it was a little bit of a longer process for me. For casting, I feel like you usually know like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before, but this project had been on my radar for like 2 months before we shot it.
Awesome. What about you, Riley?
It was a little bit different for me. I am newer to the vertical space and I had just done my first show with Dramabox, which was Torn Between My Stepbrothers. And from what Sarah had told me, Sarah Sturheimer, is that my audition tape for that was circulating around Dramabox because they liked it. And so they were talking about having me for Bucks because of that. And I sent in my tape. They found out that I'm from Texas. I grew up with horses on my backyard fence. And so I really wanted this one. It sounded like a great script, but also the chance to kind of like bring the twang back and bring out that Southern side was a huge appeal for this one. And so I definitely like leaned into that. I put that in the submission notes. I was like, I am from Texas. I grew up riding horses. And then, yeah, I did a few chem reads. And when Sarah Grace came up, I got a little excited because I had seen her face before on my very first vertical. There was some chem reads and she was one of the people that I read with. And I remember thinking, man, I hope that she gets it. But when I saw her again, I was like, okay, I think this is our chance to work together again. And it happened.
Awesome. So Grace, as someone who's done verticals a longer time, if that's fair to say, I mean, by longer, we mean a year or two. I mean, this isn't like decades.
Definitely longer though. She's much more experienced in the space.
How nice is it for you to kind of get to move beyond the billionaire office romance, which I think everyone spent quite a lot of time with? I mean, I'm just thinking for you, that must have been part of the excitement of this is different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when Christiane told me that like there was like a Western show, it's like a Western romance, and we're actually going to be, shooting on location at like a ranch, and it's such a different vibe, than what we usually see on verticals. And I was just super excited to like get to live in a different world. Also, like my natural kind of accent is more Southern. And so for every show I've ever done, I have to like fight it and hide it. And so knowing that like, oh my gosh, this show, I can really just like let it all rip. I don't have to be conscious about this or that. And shooting on the ranch, it's just such an immersive feeling. We were out there for like 4 days with the bugs and the mud, but like it was just so fun. It was so fun.
It definitely helps.
Ranch.
We shot the first ranch where we did a lot of the like stuff with the horses and the bull stuff. That was in Topanga, I believe. And then the house, like I think both of our houses was on this like ranch house in Topanga.
Yeah, Topanga Canyon. That was such a nice drive to set every day. It was beautiful. I would just put my windows down and you're like driving through the mountains surrounded by trees, fresh air. It's beautiful.
That must be stunning. Outdoor shoots. I have to ask about the accents. What was the direction then? Were you allowed to play it up, or was there ever a stage where they're like, you need to pull it back now? Kind of, what was the line?
Sarah, when you first started doing chem reads for it, were you doing a audition? Were you doing a accent the whole time, or did that? Yeah.
Yeah, I always did the accent just because, like I said to y'all now, like it is sort of kind of my natural accent. And I originally, because My mother, she's so like, she has the thickest Southern accent in the world. And anytime I do a Southern accent and like really put it on, she's like, that sounds so fake. Don't you dare do that. Like, you're shaming us. So I was like, let me just turn it on a little bit, keep it subtle, but enough to where you can hear it, but I didn't want it to be like over the top or crazy because, I wanted this to still feel like real people. And one thing that we actually did talk about a little bit for the Southern accent is I'm from Louisiana. My family's from like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Riley's from Texas. Those are two different Southern accents, and so we talked a little bit about it, like, okay, like, are we going to go with the Texas twang or are we going more like Southern gentry, And so I think trying to like find that line was something that we worked out a little bit. But yeah.
Okay, I have a question then around the horses, because you don't actually get to ride a horse, do you? After all that, Sarah, Grace, I don't think you did. Did you?
I did. Well, I
You
definitely.
did. I forgot that
Yeah.
bit. Sorry. So you got to ride your horse.
I did not, and I'm a little jealous. I'm just a little bit jealous. It's okay.
You got to ride a mechanical bull.
Absolutely I did. And it was a blast. I had an absolute blast on there.
Have you seen back? Because it looks like they've done a really good job of there's a little bit of AI, I think, but very little. It just gives a sense of it. And most of the time it is you. I mean, if you look back, what do you think of how it looks?
I think it looks great, actually. There was a short snippet where it really did look like it was me riding a bull. And I was thrilled to see that because I don't think that will ever actually happen. But
and how long did it take to film that?
I think I was probably up on that bull because there's a few bull riding sequences. I was probably up there for like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Really? I thought you were up there for longer, dude.
Longer?
You were on that bull
I was
a long time.
It was a long time, and I was shirtless for a lot of it, and I'm pretty fair skinned, so I was getting toasty out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to ask, because part of the point of your character is that he's showboating.
But yeah,
which therefore manifests as ripping your vest off.
Yeah, I got up.
Did it wrap the first go?
I had my really cool get up on with the vest and the blue shirt. I love that outfit. I thought it was so cool with the spurs and like tassels. And I get up there and I'm ready to ride. And they go, well, you have to rip it off. I was like, right, that's right. Okay. So we start off, take it off, take the shirt off, rip the shirt. And then I was up there shirtless, I think the whole time.
That tank top rip, let me say, when I actually watched it, because I didn't see them do that. I was off riding a horse actually when he was doing that. But I saw the like rip you did was awesome. You like, did they preset that or did you really just like?
So we did that a few times, and the first time or whatever, they were like, yeah, let's preset it just in case. And then on like, the third try, I was like, Chelsea, Chelsea's the costume designer. And I was like, let me just try it because we've already got it. And I ripped that thing clean in half. I don't know. I think the one in the trailer is the one where I ripped it because the way that it like went to the side, because I struggled at first, but we made it happen.
It needs to go on your CV now.
Yeah.
Life skills.
Yeah. Add that for the resume for sure.
Yeah. I have to ask just a little bit about the characters. So did you both work out a backstory? Because it feels like we jumped straight in and they kind of already, there's a little bit of tension going on there. Do you try and fill that in, both of you, sort of going back?
After you, Sarah.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit. Kind of what I was thinking for Jessa's backstory is because she's obviously kind of a more shy, a little bit more sheltered kind of girl. And I think a lot of it comes from the death of her mother. I, kind of built, because it is scripted that her mother has passed away, but we don't know exactly when. So I kind of built for myself that maybe it was a little bit more recent, like within the last 5 years. So, probably her mom, I thought it was cancer. I thought it was maybe like a longer kind of thing, something we'd been dealing with in our family for a while. And she passed and I probably, was homeschooled for a lot of it to spend time with her. And then after, homeschooled, just dealing with the grief of losing, a parent and my dad and I obviously got really, really close. He's like, the only person I have. And so, some time has passed and I know he's like a coach and obviously I've ridden horses my whole life on the ranch, but we decided, okay, I think it's time for me to get back out in the world. Like I'll start by joining the team. And, I joined the team and the rest ensued.
What about you, Riley, for yours?
Yeah, I mean, Hart obviously comes from money. His family's got money, but he's connected to something that kind of draws him away from that somewhere else. Something that he really connects to, which is bull riding. He's got a passion for it, and his family, especially his dad, wants him to stop, tell him to do something real, right? Like something important, like the family business. But he tends to do what he wants and not what other people tell him to. And so he's following his passion in both ways, where he's on this bull riding team. And then he, at least up until the story starts, I imagine that he's had a crush on his coach's daughter for some time. She's been around, obviously. And so I think it's Hart's gotten what he wants most of the time. And when he's finally faced with some, what's the proper term? A little bit of a challenge, someone that makes him work for it. I think that's when he really falls in love with something he's not used to.
One of the things I loved early on, which is when I knew it was going to be good, because I always like a good line, is when lovely Luann is trying it on and Hart calls her Pam, and that just makes me laugh so much. He purposely never gets them.
Julia is the best. Julia is so amazing and so fun to work with. We had a blast with her, and I loved calling her Pam. Are you Pam?
You're like, pause off, Pam.
Pam, you sound desperate. Like we had such a good time saying all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she does a very good squeal of indignation as well. And there's a brilliant line where I think you turn the hose back on them, and then I can't remember the name of the character. She's like, I've just had my bleach done.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
It's
funny.
made me go as well.
She got fresh bleach.
Nancy's got fresh bleach. Yeah, I think it was originally supposed to be Luann who had I think it was supposed to be her line, but then Riley, who is the other Riley,
yes,
girl Riley, we called her.
Yeah.
With the fresh bleach, she literally had just gotten her hair done 2 days before we filmed that scene. It was the freshest bleach you've ever seen.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. And so that's why she was like, well, no, Nancy's got the fresh bleach, not me.
Nancy, that was the name. Nancy.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite funny lines or moments in it?
Well, we were allowed to improvise a lot. We were allowed to play around, and Grace was amazing about that. And we would get into a scene and kind of feel a bit more playful and play around with it. And I feel like some of the best or my favorite lines came from moments like that. Like when what's his
Elijah?
name? Yes, I'm sorry.
I know.
When Elijah is trying to win her over and invite her to a date, and I walk over, and I think the first line was, I was like, keep your hands off of her. She does, stay away from her, basically. And then I came up there and I go, back up, dragon breath, you're melting my face off right now. And then I was like, okay, shrimp dick, keep your talons away from
shrimp dick.
Yeah,
yes, that was good.
That's what they ended up using, but I was walking up there and saying something, and that was one of. And then definitely, Pam, you sound desperate. And then Coach Jan, help me! These 3 hooligans were spying on me. I was trying to shower, but they're gonna put my pictures of me on pony fans. Yeah, I like that one. That one was good.
So
what about you, Sarah Grace?
Well, definitely shrimp dick is my favorite, and I'm so happy that made the edit. When I saw that, I was like, yes.
I know, dude. I was like, I knew it was coming up. I was like, which one did they pick?
I was like, there's no way that they're actually going to do it, and I'm so glad they did because it's hysterical. It was my favorite of all of your improvs that morning. That was my favorite, so I was so happy that they went with that. I also love Julia's line when we're at the party, and she's like, do a kickstand, and I'm like, but I'm in a skirt. And she's like, it's skort, puss.
Oh my God.
It was just so funny to me. A lot of her lines really made me laugh. And they're like, I sent you nudes. She runs away crying.
That made me go as well. That made me completely go, that one.
But yeah, most of my favorite lines in this show are her lines. They're just so funny to me. And her delivery was just impeccable, Yeah.
So I just want to talk about, because there's some really good sort of slight twists for the audience where it doesn't quite go where you'd expect with Verticals or with Elijah. You think he's a really viable alternative, and then he's not quite so viable later on, which is great. But also the fact that there's the kind of the double bluff with, we think Hart's got a relationship, but then it turns out to be the sister, and it's very clever because we realise we've just assumed where actually what she could have said could be a sibling. It's all very clever. Yeah, did you both notice that there's just a little bit more to the writing and just a little bit more playing with the audience?
Definitely. Writers did a really good job with this one, and that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to work on it. Even when we were doing the chem read, some of them showed up to be a part of it. And I feel like we were sitting in the room laughing as we were going through. Like we were just cracking up about it. And they did a really good job. And that's one of the things, like when I was watching it, I noticed that as well, where I was like, honestly, he's not a horrible option. He's like, he seems like, he's a good looking guy and he seems respectful and he's charming and he's just trying to take her out on a date. And then his true colors start to show.
I have to ask about showers. Never has there been so many showers in a vertical.
Are you sure?
Showers.
That's a high accolade there. That's
I suppose they're not really inside often, are they? Which is the key, because it's normally inside. So in fact, you had an outside. But no, Christiana Cruz was messaging me and going, believe me, I have put a lot of showers. And it's like, okay. And I was like,
yeah, definitely was very wet for this one. A lot.
You were a trooper, Ryley, because I feel like normally, it's the girls. We're getting soaked all the time. And trust me, as you know, I also did get soaked a couple times in this show. But Ryley really was the one who had the majority of the water stuff. And you took it like a champ, especially that like outdoor in the stable shower. It was kind of cold that day, and you really just powered through.
Is that what I'm saying? Am I right? It's normally the water, because you can't have it too hot because of steam and cameras. Is that right?
Well, it was early in the morning, and this water was coming from a hose, so there was nothing to heat it up. It was like whatever temperature was coming out of the hose, which I mean, that's the situation that was at hand. We were out on a barn somewhere. It's not like they've got some hose attached to a water heater. They were doing all that they could, though. They would rush in with hot water, like heat it up in a like a pot, and then put it in bottles and come and pour it all over me. So I was constantly like covering myself with warm water. So it wasn't too bad. And and then the scene would start and it would just so cold. One thing I would like to mention is that scene where I'm trying to get Jessa in the car when it's raining and I lasso her, which was so much fun. That was, I think, the very last thing that we shot of the shoot. We ended on that rain shoot. And it was a very cold night. It was late and at the Topanga Canyon set, and we were under the rain rig. But I got to be in the car for a lot of it. So that where we have our exchange, I'm inside. I'm like, get in the car, you're gonna catch your death. It's raining. I'm sitting there while we have to do our whole back and forth while she's just standing in there, taking all of it. So you also had your turn with I got in there, but not.
That's true.
Not as much, yeah.
Yeah, we were really cold that night. It was so, like, the crew on this show were amazing. They always made sure that we were as comfortable as we can be. Like, I remember our sound guy, he literally just, like, turned on his car and heated it up. And he was, like, in between, he was like, go, sit in the car, wait in the car. Like, everyone just constantly bringing us fresh towels, fresh cups of tea. Like, it's so, like, feeling so supported by them was just.
We were wet and muddy, and he didn't care. He just put us right in his car.
In his brand new Tesla. And I was like, I'm sorry, there's mud and water.
Brand new Tesla, that's quite something.
And he was like, I don't care. The seats are leather. They'll clean up. Yeah.
How long did it take to do the lasso scene? Because, I mean, you're properly, do you have lasso experience? Like, is that what it's called? I don't know, rope work.
Yeah, lasso experience.
Matter of fact, I do have some lasso experience. That's a part of school in Texas. Just kidding. But we would have.
I'm English. I'm like, okay, you'll learn that in Texas.
I believe that too in Texas. I mean, come on.
We would have like hoedown things, like things at school, like seasonal things where they would teach you how to do it, and then also like summer camps and stuff where I was riding horses. We were doing lassos and stuff. There's also a crazy game. This is a very Southern thing. This just came to mind because it was at that summer camp. It's a game where you throw around a cow's tongue. It's kind of like a ball, but you toss a cow's tongue. So you try and like run it across the field, and people basically try and like tag you, but you have to toss it. So it's a very Southern game for you. Very Texas.
That sounds very Southern indeed.
Just a little tidbit for you. Just some factual. This is from dropping some facts there.
Is it like sort of dry and?
Yeah.
Presumably
It's a lot bigger than you would
soft or
expect.
hard when it dries?
It's kind of
What's
hard.
the texture like?
Yeah,
Squishy?
that's what I'm trying to ask.
Like
It's
still
kinda hard.
squishy?
It's leathery a little bit. Yeah, like dry, like coarse leathery a little bit, thick, like a little squishy. It's got some give to it, but it's very dense, hard. Was that a good description?
Yeah, sorry, we weren't done it weird. So
I can't tell if I'm like intrigued or like disgusted or both.
Well, at first I was really disgusted and I was like, I didn't want to touch it, but then you just get over it because everyone's tossing it around and yeah. But I mean, you like chuck it and it flies through the air and then you just grab onto this thing and every time you're like, ah, and then you keep going.
Yeah, I think that would
and that's
watch.
kind of thing you want to pass it on quickly. Like,
Yeah. Hot potato.
Yeah.
It's a new version of hot potato.
Yeah. That should have been in the show.
Should have been in the show, man.
sequel.
There was other tongue tossing.
That's true.
Well, you could do a sequel on this one because I don't think that relationship's gonna not have its moments. You know,
I
You've got
think
two very
so.
stubborn people.
Hmm.
There's definitely a lot left in this story, I think.
It would be fun to do a sequel with these characters because there's definitely room for it, you know?
I
How
wouldn't
was
mind
it?
working with Sarah Grace again as well.
Wait, what?
I said I wouldn't mind working with Sarah Grace again as well.
Yeah, same.
Just putting that out there.
How was it working with? Because obviously, the other thing is you have a really nice relationship with your dad as well, and that's kind of also key, isn't it? That Hart sort of basically comes round of like the way I'm going to make this work is I have to find a way to get on with dad.
Yeah.
How is all that? Because they're actually really strong, those scenes, like particularly when you're like, you've got to let me live my life and I know you're trying to protect me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he was just absolutely wonderful. I feel like we were able to bond really quickly and I always felt very safe and supported. And like I said, I think kind of the way that I was trying to come at Jessa with the backstory is like that father-daughter relationship is just super strong and there's a lot of love there. And I love seeing this kind of relationship in a vertical because, I feel like we see a lot like, the overbearing fathers who just want to control their daughters and bend them to their will. But genuinely everything that he did, was coming out of a place of love and concern. And I think that it's very clear in the show and the way that it's played as well. I feel like it just added such a wonderful layer. Cause then for me, the conflict with Jessa is like, I'm not rebelling against my like terrible, mean, horrible father. I'm like struggling between like these two loves, which I think is so much more compelling. It's like there's just so much love and I don't want to disappoint anybody, but also trying to, be independent and find myself as like a woman,
Sorry, I was thinking about the relationship between Jessa and her dad, and it feels that that's quite crucial for Hart as well. It's almost like he grows up and realizes like, I've got to stop pushing against this man who's annoying
Absolutely.
me and find a way to communicate and work with him because it matters to her.
Absolutely. And there is a short moment in the show, but it is a significant piece when he is trapped in her closet when she is hiding him in there where he sees the picture of her and her mother when she was younger. And I think it kind of clicks for him in that moment how important this relationship is. Obviously, that is her father, but I think in that moment he realizes just how vital he is to her. And he is all that she has. So I think that's where that change really he started to make that change. And I'm happy that he's got enough of a head on his shoulders to be able to pivot and accept that and change as a man.
So you've both watched it back all the way through?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are any favourite moments that kind of when you watched it back that you were like really pleased with and like that came across really well? I love that.
Okay.
I know. I got to think about that.
Well, definitely start off with the bull riding. I mean, right off the gun, episode 1, I was like, oh my gosh, starting off hot. I knew that episode 1 was going to be good. I knew we were starting off with the bull riding, and I had been anticipating that for a while. And the shirt rip and seeing myself on a bull, definitely a highlight.
Yeah. No, that was fun. I think, one of my favorite scenes going back watching it was like the paywall, honestly, kind of the whole kind of scene where he like comes into my room for the first time and he's in the closet and my dad's there and then we have our first kiss in the closet. And when I was when we were filming it, obviously like we're all like, okay, yeah, this is a big moment, this is their first kiss, and like we had a great time shooting it. And, you know, it was a little crazy filming in this tiny closet because, like, you got us in there, you got our 2 camera people in there, we got a bunch of lights in there, like.
You were in there for a while as
And
well.
we were in there for a long, long time. But when I watched it back, I was like, I kind of had an out of body experience a little bit because I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, yes, they're together finally. And I was like, wait, girl, that's.
That's good. You were so invested in the story, you kind of forgot it was you.
Yeah, in that scene, I was like, the chemistry and like the love just like really came through, and I was so happy about it. And I literally like kind of forgot for a second that I was like watching myself. I was like really rooting for Jessa and Hart there, and I was like, wow, I'm really happy with how that came out.
I do feel that way about the shower scene when you bump into me and I pull you in, and we have that's where Hart and Jessa, you can really start to feel it. There is like a tension there, and we held those beats well. And I watched that, and I wasn't sure, you know, when you're shooting these things, you can only do your best, and you don't know if it's going to come across how it feels and how it's supposed to. And I think it definitely did, and it translated to screen. And I agree, when I was watching it, I was also getting invested to the point that I was like, hold on a second. Hold on, I know what happens already. But and then the scene where I really beat up Elijah with the weapon, with the cattle prong.
You go for it with a cattle prom. Yeah.
Yeah, the stunt coordinator was amazing. I don't know where they found that thing, if they brought that or if that was there, because that thing was real. But they like took the batteries out. It wasn't working. They made sure it was safe. And we're going through all, and it's just like crazy. And then once I hit him with it, they had a light that would flicker to
Do the
show that
effect.
he was getting electrocuted. And it looked so cool. And he was screaming so loud, Sarah could even hear him up at the house. Like, we were all the way down the hill.
Yeah,
And
it was crazy.
just screaming. And when I watched that one, I was like, it looks so good. The punches, the hits, they all sold. The electricity with the flash was really cool. I really liked that scene a lot.
Can you just remind people, because I think it's worth, if anyone's forgotten, how long was the shoot for this? How many days?
9 days.
Yeah. It's phenomenal, really, that you do a whole movie still. I think we just have to remind people, they did a whole movie in 9 days. I do have to ask about costumes, because I did message you, Ryley, with concern about budget cuts hitting you hard. And I mean,
yeah, you were like, hopefully we can get funding to buy Ryley some shirts.
He really doesn't wear a shirt in this. He really doesn't.
I thought that was so funny. That actually cracked me up a lot. I know I'm sure it definitely helped with the costume budget. When I would go to wardrobe, half the time, when I'm accepting my new costume, it was just pants or it was just shorts. It makes it easy, you know. I have less things to put on, so.
I was thinking, presumably, I would guess that your favourite full costume was the bull riding kit, because that did look awesome.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Specifically the one with the darker blue shirt. We had tried on a few chaps, and chaps is the leather bull riding thing. It goes over your pants. There was one that didn't have the tassels that I tried on at the fitting. That didn't fit as well, and they told me that they were going to order another one, and then that one had the tassels, and I was like, can I take these home? Is that okay? I don't know when I'm going to wear them or when I can fit
Did you
that
take them?
No, I'm sure that those things were pretty.
Yeah, Chelsea was like, no way, sir. You got to pay for those.
Yeah, because they were really nice. Those things, I don't think you have to make those by hand, and it's full leather.
They were really nice.
They were so cool. And then the vest as well, they put all these cool stickers over them. I really liked the one, it was the Cowboy one that looked like a Marlboro Red pack. That was awesome. And then there was a Save a Horse Ride a Cowboy one, obviously. They did a really good job.
Yeah. Fun fact, a lot of the flannels that I wear in this piece are Ryley's.
True, yeah. A lot of the flannels in the show are mine. I have Southern attires.
I also feel this is like your little hallmark. I'm ready. Look at my wardrobe. Christmas movies, here I come.
Yeah,
I could be on a Christmas tree lot. It's no problem, people. I've got the gear.
absolutely.
I mean, Sarah Grace, apart from the flannels as well, I mean, you have your moment with, it's some sort of mat, isn't it, wrapped around you when they've taken your clothes?
Yes, the saddle
Is you?
pad.
Yes,
Yes,
I mean,
that's
that's
the
a
one.
look.
That is a look. And I gotta be honest, when I put that saddle pad on, I was like, why is it giving like haute couture?
And
Like, it was
you took
kind of
that home?
fashion. It was so structured and like kind of perfectly like went in at the waist and like stopped like a mini dress. Like I thought it was pretty cute, not gonna lie. I was not expecting it to be something like that. I thought it was gonna be like, some like dirty horse blanket or whatever, but they come out with this like really nice, like expensive saddle pad. And I was like, okay, cool.
You made it
Yeah.
look good. And I was thinking as well, partly having been in a lot of verticals, this must be the longest you spent not in dresses, but in either trousers or shorts.
Yeah. I think also too, what I was mainly thinking about is I don't wear high heels once in this show.
Yeah.
Not
Wow.
once.
Yeah, not even in the sort of the little dance scene or
Even
out
when
the
I'm in
gate.
the little dance scene, I'm in
You've got
cowboy
the
boots.
boots, haven't you? Yeah, you've got those gorgeous
Yeah.
boots.
And
You
those
know,
little the cowboy boots have like a little bit of a heel, but it's nothing like those like stilettos and stuff that I've worn a lot. And so, man, it was just awesome. Like not being in heels for the whole shoot. The
yeah, I think
wardrobe was so comfortable.
we both were talking about that, how we're gonna miss being able to wear boots and flannels and jeans and all these really comfy clothes. Yeah, it's definitely different than three-piece suits and
Yeah, we
such.
need you back in the three-piece suit, bedazzled with a giant brooch. It's a look.
It's a look. True.
Finally, obviously, when it's been out about a week now. I think maybe not even that. Have you had any feedback? Kind of what comments are you getting from people? What's the vibe you're getting from the audience?
You wanna go first?
Sure. The feedback so far has been really, really great and positive, which is so lovely to hear. A lot of people have reached out about, you know, one of the things that people have said that they liked a lot was the difference in vibe. A lot of people, like you said, are like super excited to see a show with a different, that's not your typical kind of billionaire thing. A lot of people have also reached out how they, really, really love our chemistry and like they really see the love and connect to the love between these two characters and how the focus of the story really is love and you don't see a lot of the crazy bullying. We have some bullying stuff here, but it feels like a very grounded story, which I think a lot of people have been connecting to, which makes me so happy.
Yeah, I think what I've been seeing the most of is people commenting on the chemistry and how this show, like, writing is great and it has a lot of fun moments and really good characters. Like overall, a really well-rounded cast, especially with Julia and Jordan. And but everyone always comments on the kind of palpable chemistry between Jessa and Hart, and I'm very proud about that.
So I have two more questions. Okay, next one is for both of you. As you've shown Southerners, but also obviously this is a sort of Western. Is there either a favourite Western or Southern TV show or movie that's kind of a go-to that you'd recommend to the audience to check out?
Well,
You can have more than one, because that might be too hard.
so this is like kind of different, but I gotta share it with you. So one of my favorite shows growing up has always been True Blood. I love True Blood.
No.
And I know that it's like very kind of different stories, but the second Riley and I did the chem read together and we got off the call, I like told Eloise, I was like, girl, this is Jason Stackhouse. Like, this is Jason Stackhouse. And like, I definitely see that vibe. So I don't know why, but like for a lot of the shoot, I was thinking about True Blood, even though it's like kind of different. But in True Blood, we have the same Southern vibe. And we also have a lot of like very strong chemistry and relationships between people. Yeah.
You've just set up the sequel.
Right?
That's when it's sequel. Like,
Bugs,
it'll
but
turn
now we're
vampire.
vampires.
Sarah told me as part of my homework that I had to watch True Blood.
Have you done it
you?
yet?
I have, yes, so much.
Liar.
I've watched so much of it.
Don't lie to me.
I have not. I haven't. I started it and I was like, I don't know how long I'm gonna have to watch for this Jason Stackhouse guy to show up. So
You know what? I'm going to send you like one of those like TikToks or reels that's like the best of Jason Stackhouse. That's all you need.
yeah, that'd be cool. Mine, I don't know if No Country for Old Men is technically like just a Southern film, but it is based in the South and it is one of my favorite movies. So definitely that one. And then Taylor Sheridan makes some really good stuff. 1984 is a good show. Yosemite is really good, but I think I liked 1984 more.
Excellent. Very good recommendations. And then ending back on a vertical note, for both of you, are there any upcoming projects that you can share or past projects that you'd love people to check out? Sarah Grace, you're on it, I can see.
We do actually have a show for you to check out. Riley and I have a show coming out on Real Short on the 11th, so in a couple of days.
Oh my God,
Us,
2 days now.
oh my gosh, 2 days. Yeah. It's us in a totally different universe. And in between, he buzzed his hair. I cut my hair. It's such a different vibe.
That's why my hair is so short right now. It's
Yeah.
growing back. It's finally got some length coming back, but
Oh, Breaking My Bodyguard.
yeah.
Yes.
I do like a bodyguard. Can we share more, please? I mean, I think we can guess from the poster, Mr. Schroeder, you look like the bodyguard, unless there's a really big twist.
Yes,
No, it's
I am. I am Dante Valentino, the bodyguard, and I that role was so much fun, and getting to do all the action sequences, and I had a golden gun and everything. It
Sorry,
was
no,
that
take it
was
seriously. Oh, God. Okay.
a really, really, really good time, and it was a pleasure getting to work with Sarah Grace again, and I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, it was crazy. We actually wrapped Bucked and then had like maybe a week off and then started the Bodyguard show.
6 days. It was
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, almost right after. It was crazy how we kind of just went from one universe to a totally different one. But it was really, really fun, getting to stick together, especially too, because I love working with Riley. It's so much fun. And with these verticals, I mean, it's, different crew, different cast almost every time. So getting to do like a back-to-back thing together was just great.
It is a
Feels like that-
miracle that she didn't grow tired of me, truly.
No, I could never.
But it feels like that's a crazy coincidence because often, obviously given, this has come out and does well, then often people are like, okay, well, let's pair those two up again because that really works. But the fact that almost two completely separate projects both went, this is the fit that we want, and didn't presumably know about the other one that that sounds amazing. That it's just, you obviously are just meant to work together.
It's definitely a sign. I guess it works.
Guess so.
So they've got all that to look forward to. Right, I better get this out super quick so then it will still be before that's come out. Any other individual projects you'd like to shout out as well? Although obviously everyone should watch that.
I have
I
another
just-
show. What did you say? You go.
You go.
No, you.
All right, fine. I just shot a proof of concept film, which will then be used to try and get funding for a feature. That is in the assembly line process of post-production. I mean, we wrapped 2 days ago, so this thing won't be out for a while, but it is titled NYX, NYX, and that is shot horizontally. That was not a vertical. Directed by Lorene Wu. I am very, very honored, lucky to have been a part of that project. And it was long fight sequences, big action. I was fighting at 1.4 people at the same time, and we had two full days, hours and hours of fight rehearsal. I was working with just incredibly talented people that have worked on like huge movies, like Lorenzo, who did the stunt coordination, was just working on Mandalorian, the new Mandalorian and Grogu, and like he worked on Black Panther as well. So I got to learn a lot and do a lot of things that I've really always dreamt of doing as an actor. And so when that movie comes out, I guess keep an eye out. It could be like a year or two, who knows? But
Make sure you post about it because you're going to have so many vertical fans who will help get eyes on it.
it's going to be all over my socials. Absolutely.
I just have to ask, am I right in thinking you had a sports background before acting?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. I've played just about every sport there is. I played volleyball all throughout high school after I moved to California because when I moved here, I signed up for school like a week before school started, and she told me I couldn't join the football team because I grew up in Texas playing football and baseball and soccer, and I was on the swim team. And my mom made me play tennis and baseball. I ran track. So yes, lots and lots of sports.
So has that been a joy then to basically, where I'm going is presumably that's one of the lovely bits about acting, than being able to do the more physical stuff.
Yes, and in the other Dramabox show where in Torn Between My Stepbrothers, I got to play the star quarterback and got to pretend I was a football player for a little bit, and that's always a lot of fun. relive the glory days.
And Sarah Grace, what about you? What can people look for you? What would you like them to watch?
Yeah, so I have a show coming out called Whispers from the Ashes. It'll be on TikTok. It's vertical. We just shot it like 2 weeks ago, so might be out in another month or
Is that the
so.
one with Fabian?
Yes, it is the one with Fabian.
That's a good name. That's a good title.
Whispers from the Ashes. Yeah, no, it's
Great
it's
title.
great. And that shoot was probably one of the most challenging shoots I've done in a great way because
I heard that it was difficult.
yeah, we had a lot of things going on. All I'll say for now is I am a ghost for most of the script. So a lot of the things that I did were on a green screen or alone. So the shooting process for that was unlike anything I've ever done before. But I feel really proud of what we all did together. And I'm just so intrigued to see what it's going to look like when it comes out. Actually, it'll probably be longer than like a month or two because there is a lot of VFX that they'll have to do for that show.
I'm so excited to see you as a ghost. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see me as a ghost and just see how it all works out. And it's a very, very tragic story. It's very, very sad.
Reading a
But
lot, crying.
every day, baby.
Mhm.
Every day. But it was just such a fun challenge. I've never gotten the chance to do anything like that. And Fabian is wonderful. We've worked together and he's amazing. And the little girl who played my daughter, April, she was fantastic as well. She's 6, but she was so talented and just absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to see, how all that's gonna look when it comes together.
I just want
Yeah.
to say thank you so much to both of you because Sarah Grace has taken time out while on the shoot. And Riley, I know you must just be in between projects because you're mega busy too. So thank you so much for just making a little bit of time so I can ask you all the questions. Very much appreciate it. Excellent show. Brilliant news. You've got more stuff coming out. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Absolutely.
so much, Jen. I'm so glad we got the chance to talk.
Thanks for having us.